Hey guys, how you doing? Ron Raymond here from the Raymond Report with your MLB baseball preview and predictions for a Tuesday, August 3rd. Hope you're having yourself a good start to your day. As always, don't forget, subscribe to our channel by tapping that notification bell in the top right-hand corner or hit the subscribe button below this video if you are watching on a mobile device. Today's podcast is brought to you by bullpenpicks.com. Anybody can play, anybody can join. Sign up today for free and follow the top scorers. And right now, your top scorer at bullpenpicks.com is still Exo Volo at 804. You got the Chuck 5252, Michael Parachuk here at 792, and Lonnie Smith is in third place at 735, and those are your top three scores. In fact, 2 of the 3 are new, so we got some new leaders here at bullpenpicks.com. And if you want to follow my selections each and every day for free, just go to most followed, look for the Expos logo, and look for Ronnie Ray. And 6-2 yesterday, pretty good day yesterday for the bullpen picks. And you can get my selections each and every day, and then go to your following. And then once you hit your following, you'll see on the page of the players you're following their selections, and you can follow their picks each and every day right here at bullpenpicks.com. All right, let's take a look at the SBI, the Sports Betting Index, and what we do in this segment. Just like the Dow Jones Industrial, we take a look at what's coming in the market in baseball the last 7 days, and you can see right there a lot of yellow here today, and that's great because that means from you and the bookmaker, you're both on even settings, and because it's been pretty balanced. And if you look at the favorites the last 7 days, 56.9% of the favorites have come in, 43.1% of the underdogs. And if you look at the year-to-date on favorites, 58.1%. And if you compare that on the 7-day average, that's 2% lower. So fair market value here if you're betting underdogs and favorites here today on Major League Baseball. Same thing with the over-unders on the SBI here. 53.9% of the overs have come in. 49.7 is the average on the year. So, fair market value. So fire away if you're betting overs and unders today on the Raymond Report or Major League Baseball. Yeah, Raymond Report doesn't do baseball. Yeah, we we don't run the league, but we do bet against them. All right, let's take a look at the Major League Baseball here today, and we're going to kick it off with the Yankees taking on the Baltimore Orioles at Yankee Stadium. First pitch, 7:05 today in the Bronx. Now, Garrett Cole was scheduled to go, but unfortunately, he contracted COVID-19, so he's going to miss his next start. So in comes Nestor Cortez. Now, man, I'm looking, and the one thing, once you bet baseball and you get to August, you get a lot of these inflated prices, right? Because of all the pennant runs, and the bookmakers know that. They know that the Yankees, the Padres, the top dogs, right? The teams with the best records are going to have inflated prices, right? Especially these public teams like the New York Yankees. There's no way on God's green earth that Nestor Cortez should be a 310 favorite. As bad as Baltimore's been this year at 38-67, the Yankees, I think 90% of their games have been a favorite this year, and they shouldn't be at 56-49. There's no way they should be a 310 favorite. And look at yesterday, they faced the Orioles, 7-1 final for the Baltimore Orioles, and I just don't think either you bet the Orioles or the total, but there's no way you lay 310 or even on the run line. I don't think you can trust the Yankees on the run line. Now, Alexander Wells is going to go here for Baltimore. The over-under here is set at 9. ATS forecast, computer pick. Going to lean with the Yankees here, 5.49 to 3.57. The over-under at 9.06. So it does like it to go over the total. Your Kogo is at 77%. Kogo stands for chance of game going over the total. Now, looking at my line on the game, and this is more what I feel this line should be at, is at minus 185. And if you look at Baltimore, plus 188. To me, going back to all of my videos, and I've talked about this, and if you haven't seen any of the videos, go on our YouTube channel and go look at my sports betting tips. And I talk about perception versus reality. And the perception is, the bookmakers think that they're worth 310, but the reality is, and I did all the breaking down of the numbers, the reality is 185. So take that perception versus reality, and in the middle lies the truth, right? All right, so looking at the Orioles, 188. The Kogo's at 77%. So the Kogo stands for chance of game going over the total. We have it at 9.06. And there's probably a Cole's Note version of the Raymond Report right there in that little snapshot of the Baltimore New York Yankees. So, yeah, you probably just learned the Raymond Report there in about 2 minutes. All right, so Baltimore, last 5 games I've gone under the total, and the last 4 for the Yankees I've gone under the total. Phillies taking on the Washington Nationals. Now, the Nationals losing last night 7-5 against Washington. Patrick Corbin going up against Zach Wheeler today of the Philadelphia Phillies. Now, the minus 168 is the price here, according to the bookmakers. favoring the Philadelphia Phillies on the road. My line is minus 117, so you can see they're overvalued today. They're on a 2-game win streak, and I do have the Phillies winning with 3.5 to 2.4. The over-under at 5.94, and looking at the Cogos at 36%, meaning a 64% chance of this game going under the total. Pretty low-scoring games. I just don't know. Yeah, maybe Corbin. Looking at Corbin's last couple of starts here, he's got a pretty high ERA of 5.78, but if you look at his last few starts in the last couple of games, he's gone 5 innings, so he's giving you innings, but his ERA is pretty inflated at 5.78 the last game against Philly, 5.71, so he's in the high fives, and I don't trust that bullpen whatsoever. Last 3 games for Washington have gone over the total, while the last 2 have gone over for Philly, and your Kogo is at 36%. Cleveland Indians taking on the Toronto Blue Jays, and like I said at the top of the show, you got to pick your spots to bet the underdogs. Cleveland was our top underdog play of the day yesterday. I thought this was a good spot for Cleveland going against Toronto. Emotional weekend, right? Back in Canada. I just thought, clean sweep over the Royals, and it was a good spot to go against Toronto yesterday. And sure enough, we got the victory. And folks, if you are interested in my top plays, my underdog best bets, my 5-star best bets, my 4-star over-unders, you can get them each and every day right here at atsstats.com. And again, use promo code FB, F is in Foxtrot, B is in Bravo, 21, and get 20% off your next membership package here at atsstats.com. All right, let's get back to business here. Minus 200 for the Toronto Blue Jays, and my line was minus 143, so a bit overvalued here again. You got Hyun-Jin Ryu up against Zach Plesac, son of Dan Plesac, who used to play for the Toronto Blue Jays, so probably emotional game here for the Plesacs. And looking at the computer forecast based on 15 previous games in the database, 5.85, 4.25, the over-under set at 10.1, so it does like it to go over the total. And looking at the Toronto Blue Jays' last 3 games have gone under the total. All right, Boston Red Sox taking on Detroit Tigers at Comerica Park tonight. And 7:10 is the first pitch. You got Willie Peralta going up against Garrett Richards of the Bull Sox. We do like Boston in this one. Not Chicago, Boston. The other Sox. Minus 142 is the price tag. 6.2 to 3.9. The over-under at 10.1. My line on the game, minus 150, so you are getting value on the Boston Red Sox. Minnesota taking on the Cincinnati Reds. Now the Reds are minus 125 favorite. The over-under set at 9. ATS forecast, computer pick, based on 28 games in the system. Gonna lean with the Twinkies here. 5.38, 4.46. The over-under at 9.84. Tyler Mahle going up against Kenta Maeda. Not having a great year like he did last season. 5-12 for the Twins when Maeda goes, and the Reds are 14-7 when Mahle toes the rubber. And looking at Cincinnati's last game, a 7-1 win over the Mets, while the Twins losing 7-3 to St. Louis. New York Mets taking on the Miami Marlins. The Mets losing yesterday 6-3 against the Marlins, those scrappy Marlins. And Taijuan Walker going up against undecided right now. Minus 170 is the line I'm seeing out there. I had a minus 148, so overvalued today for Taijuan Walker and the Mets. And when Walker goes for New York, they're 14-5 in his starts this season. And we do like the Mets in a tight game here. 3.5 to 3.2. The over-under at 6.7. Your Kogo sitting here at 57%. Since not Cincinnati, we're almost in Bengals getting in football mode right there. Seattle taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. Now the Rays losing to Seattle yesterday, 8-2, and the over was our 5-star best bet yesterday. Not a lot of plays yesterday. We have we have our 5-star best bet, our 4-star over under. We have our 2-team parlay of the day, our system play of the day, the underdog play. We only had 3 plays yesterday, and this was one of them, and it was the over in this game, and it was an 8-2 final. And Yusei Kikuchi going to go here today against Luis Patino of the Tampa Bay Rays. And I think Seattle's absolutely dominated this series so far this year. I'll have to take a look at the rain report, but I'm pretty sure Seattle's been on top on a lot of these games in the last, say, 8 games or so. And 6.5 to 3.95, the over-under at 10.45, favoring the Mariners. Now Seattle going into this game as a dog, plus 135, I'm seeing the number. Minus 155 for Tampa Bay. And looking at the Kogo here, sitting at 39%. And my line on the game, minus 194 for Seattle. For Tampa Bay. So you are getting value on the Rays, but I had plus 107, so you're really getting good value here today on Seattle. All All right, LA Angels taking on the Texas Rangers. Now the Rangers minus 110, so basically a pick and price here with Jose Suarez going for the Halos up against Jordan Lyles of the Texas Rangers. Texas now on a 3-game win streak. They're coming off a 4-1 win in their last game here against the Angels. And the computer pick based on 35 games in the system going back to 1996, 5.05 to 4.07. The over-under is set at 9.12, and the Halos now on a 2-game losing streak, 52-54 on the season, so 2 games below 500. Kogo here is set at 57%. My line on the game, plus 123 for the Rangers, minus 104 for LA, so you are getting good value here today on the Halos. Kansas City taking on those other White Sox, or other Sox, the White Sox, Chicago White Sox, minus 240. The over-under is set at 9. And looking at the line here on the total, we have, let me see here, minus 181 is our line. So again, let's go back to perception versus reality, right? There's no way Chicago should be a minus 240 line, even though they're at home, but they haven't played some really good baseball of late. In fact, minus 181 is the line I have, and 240 is the number I'm seeing here on the Chicago White Sox, so way overvalued here today. Kansas City plus 174. They're on a 3-game losing streak right now, 45-59 on the season. And for the Kansas City Royals, their strength of schedule last 7 games, 55.1 compared to 48.9 for the Chicago White Sox. The computer pick, though, going to go with the White Sox here, 5.07, 2.65. The over-under here set at 7.72. And the Kogo is at 60%. Milwaukee taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. 6-2 win last night for the Brew Crew over the Bucks. And Max Kranick going to go up against Adrian Hauser today of the Milwaukee Brewers. They're 13-5 in his starts. 12-5-1 to the over. The computer pick on 41 games in the system. Going to lean with Milwaukee. 5.87 to 3.6. The over-under at 9.47. And looking at Milwaukee now in a 2-game winning streak. The last 2 have gone over the total. They are 64-43 on the season. And the Kogo is set at 58%. My line on the game, minus 155. And again, you're going to see all these teams that are leading the divisions. Most are going to be way overvalued. That's because we're in August now, right? Atlanta taking on the St. Louis Cardinals. Is going to bring up the standings here in just for a second because I always like to keep an eye on the standings to see where the races are. And I'm going to go back here to Chicago or Milwaukee. And I'm looking at the Brew Crew here. Yeah, they got a 7.5 point lead over the Reds now. So, okay, it's man, they were opening it up here. I didn't think it was that much, but it's 7.5. And you know what? One thing we don't do enough at this time of year is and I think it's because, we're so involved in the sports betting and the lines and the totals. We sometimes we don't keep track of the standings, right? That's one thing you want to do is each morning, look at the standings, right? You did it all your life, but for some reason, the last it's almost like not a laziness, but you just keep forgetting. You're mostly geared on the player matchups, the pitching matchups, and sometimes you do forget that there are standings that you got to keep an eye on. In fact, let me go through a little run through right now. The Mets have a 2.5 point game lead on the Phillies. The Brewers 7.5 and San Francisco 3.5. That's going to be a really tight race. Unfortunately for San Diego, losing Tatis Jr. For a couple of weeks is going to hurt them. Tampa Bay, this is going to be the best race down the stretch in the American League East. The Rays, a 1 point lead now over Boston, even though they lost last night. The Yankees 7 games behind. Blue Jays 8 games behind. That's going to be a good race. White Sox have an 8.5 point the run lead or game lead over the Indians, and 12 over the Tigers, and then Houston 4.5 over the A's. So a little rundown there in case you were wondering. Hey, just an FYI. But back to this one, we already talked about 5.8 to 3.6, the over-under at 9.47, and your Kogo sitting here at 58%. All right, Atlanta Braves taking on the St. Louis Cardinals. Now Max Fried going to go up against John Lester of the St. Louis Cardinals, and looking at the Atlanta Braves, man, 3.5 games. You know what? The whole National League East, I think of all the divisions in baseball, this one in the American League East, the 2 East divisions are going to be going to be a good race down the stretch, right? St. Louis now going into this game, coming off a 7-3 win over the Twins in their last game. They're on 1 day's rest. Their last 2 games have gone over the total. Where Atlanta minus 128 is the price here, and my line was minus 108, so a bit overvalued here with Max Fried on the hill today against the Cardinals. And John Lester, the old veteran, going for the Cardinals here. They're 8-8 when Lester starts for his teams. And looking at the computer forecast on 40 previous games in the system, you got Atlanta 4.5 to 4.2 for St. Louis. The over-under at 8.81. My line in the game, minus 120 for St. Louis, minus 08 for Atlanta. So overvalued, but you are getting good value here on the Cardinals with the veteran John Lester. Chicago Cubs taking on the Colorado Rockies. Now the Rockies going to send Kyle Freeland to the hill up against Zach Davies of the Chicago Cubs. And when I'm looking at some of these numbers here, I want to take a look at Davies' numbers so far on the season. They're 11-11 in his starts for the Cubs. But let me see. Zach Davies, 6-7 on the year, 4.39 ERA. And went 6 innings last game against Cincinnati. 7 hits, 4 runs, 4 earned, 1 home run, 4 walks, and 8 Ks. So not a bad outing. He did take the L though in that game against Cincinnati. And Kyle Freeland going here today for the Colorado Rockies. I thought Colorado just had a long extended road trip here, so it might be the first home game in about a week or 10 days. When Freeland goes for the Rockies, they're 4-8, 2-9-1 to the under, and minus 131 was my price, or the bookmaker's price. My price was plus 135, so Colorado overvalued here today. And the computer pick, based on 24 games in the system, gonna lean with the Cubbies, 6.48 to 5.12. The over-under at 11.16. So it does like it to go just a hair over the total today. Your Kogo is at 45%, so pretty much close to the medium mark right there. And you got a C neutral team against a C bearish team. And if you're wondering what does that mean in the Raymond Report, neutral means that the team is either 4-3 or 3-4 in the last 7 games, and bearish means that the team is either 2-5, 1-6, or 0-7 in their last 7 contests. And again, Zach Davies against Kyle Freeland. Your Kogo at 45%. Colorado on the year 46-60. Chicago 51-56. San Diego taking on the Oakland Athletics. Now the A's coming off an 8-3 win in the last game against the Halos. And San Diego winning 8-1 against the Rockies. Blake Snell going up against Sean Manaea. Now Snell on the season, we all know he's a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde, right? You look at his home record this season, and I'm just going to bring up his numbers. At home this year, Blake Snell, 2.81 ERA, 1.2 whip, 3-1 on the season with a, let me see here, innings pitched, 41.2. But on the road, 8.02 ERA, 2.02 whip, that's a high whip, and 1-3 on the season. So Jekyll and Hyde type pitcher for Snell this season. You can tell he enjoys pitching at home much better. Sean Manaea going to go here for the Oakland Athletics. And for Sean Manaea, 8-6 on the season, 3.01 ERA. And when he's pitching at home this season, 3.34 ERA, 4-2 with a whip of 1.25. His ERA on the road is 2.64. So, but you know what? That's pretty, compared to Snell's ERA at home and away, that's pretty respectable right there. They're 14-7 in Manaea starts this season for Oakland. And looking at the computer pick, 3.62 for San Diego, 3.2 for Oakland. And minus 160 is the price. I had minus 150, so close to fair market value. Minus 172 for the Padres, but again, losing Tatis Jr. really hurts this squad, and I don't know if I can trust Snell on the road with that high ERA. All right, let's go to the next game. San Francisco taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. 162 is the price here. Over-under set at 9.5. ATS forecast, computer pick, going to go with the Giants, 4.78, 3.88. The over-under at 8.6. Johnny Cueto going to go up against Madison Bumgarner here of the Arizona Diamondbacks. And I'm just going to bring up Bumgarner starts here this season. 5-6, ERA of 4.87. And in his home starts this year, he's 5.35 ERA compared to 4.5 on the road and a whip of 137. They're 6-9 in Bumgarner starts this season, and the computer pick on 14 games in the system. Gonna lean with the Giants here. 4.78 to 3.88. The over-under here is set at 8.66. And looking at my line on the game, minus 200 I had here compared to minus 162. So good value here on the Giants. And for Arizona, 179. So close to fair market value. So a little bit undervalued here today. 33-74. They're on a 3-game losing streak, while San Fran on a 3-game win streak, winning 11-8 yesterday against the D-backs. And your game of the night will be at Dodger Stadium between the LA Dodgers and the Houston Astros. Lance McCullers Jr. going to go up against Walker Buehler's day off. They're 14-7 in Buehler's starts, while the Astros are 9-5 in McCullers starts this season. The Houston on a 2-game losing streak, losing 5-3 in the last game against San Francisco. Both teams playing on 1 day's rest. Minus 164 is the bookmaker's line. I had minus 199, so you're getting a pretty good price here on the LA Dodgers. And the forecast sees a low-scoring affair, 3.63 to 2.5. The over-under is set at 6.13. And looking at the Kogo here is at 32%. Both teams are neutral, and they're both A-type teams, meaning teams that are above 60% in the standings. And speaking of those standings, Houston, let me see here, the American League West, 4.5 games behind, 64 and 42, while San Fran 3.5 game lead over the Dodgers. So should be a good one tonight in LA. All right, let's go to the Trends Are Your Friends. Let's see if we have any friends here today. The Toronto Blue Jays weren't my friends yesterday, but I had the Cleveland Indians, so maybe we'll see today. But I don't think that's a heavy price tag today on Toronto. 12-1 as a minus 180, minus 200 home favorite in the second game of a series the last 6 seasons. And the Giants 9-1 as a 180, minus 200 road favorite versus left-handed pitchers since 1996. Wow, only 10 times that has happened. The Giants as a minus 180, 200 road favorite versus Southpaw, 9-1 straight up. If you like the under in the Braves game here today, the under is 9-1 for Atlanta as they pick them the 120 road favorite coming off a game where they scored 1 run 4 in their last game in the last 10 years. So when the Atlanta Braves are picking the 120 road favorite, only scored 1 run 4 in their last game. Last 10 years, 9-1 to the under. And let me get a current season stat here. You know I like those ones, right? The White Sox 14-3 as a home team after a conference game this season, and the over is 14-2-1 for Arizona as a home team. The second game of a series this season, so maybe the over with Bumgarner going here for Arizona. And who's going again for the, let me see, Arizona, before we check, Arizona and San Francisco, Johnny Cueto. Yeah, you know what? The over might be worth a look here. I'll have to do some more digging on that number. All right, there you have it. That is the Raymond Report for a long one here today, but that's okay. A lot of good information. And again, it is Tuesday, August 3rd. And folks, if you're interested in my top plays, my best bets, you can get them here each and every day. Just click on MLB Baseball Picks, and you can see I'll have a 5-star best bet game of the day, 4-star over-under, 2-team parlay, the upset special, which was Cleveland yesterday, and the system play of the day, which will be locked and loaded right here at atsstats.com. In the meantime, shop for value, play those percentages. I'll see you back shortly with another Raymond Report. Cheers.